It is Thursday, and me and Peter are on our way to replace 2 condensers at the Sea of Condensers building. They're all corroded because of the salt. It's right on the ocean, so we're replacing the 2 of them. Hopefully it goes smoothly and I get good footage. Okay, so we're recovering from our first condenser, our 3-ton, and I have the tank in water, that way it doesn't overpressurize. And then we'll weigh it, see how much we took out. That way we know roughly how much we have to put into the new one. And I got my line voltage and my low voltage disconnected using the field piece S-mats and the field piece recovery tank. Recovery machine. Okay, so we finished our recovery. Our lines are cut. I'm gonna have to put in a new bend for the 7/8. And I had to cut back because there was like a pinch in it, and I'd rather just have, I don't know if it affected it or not, but I don't like having kinks in the line. This one I had to cut back because this is where the filter dryer was, so we'll put new filter dryer in, new filter dryer, and we'll run new lines to each. And I'll make a bend for the 7/8 to come in. Right now we have to lift these units up and over, and then we gotta make them all the way out there, down an elevator, so we're just gonna move them off to the side for now. Okay, so we got them out. Now we'll go downstairs and bring everything else that we need up here, and we'll bring the new units up, and then we'll bring these down. Okay, so we got our first unit in place. Gonna work on the bends and extending the 3/8. And we'll get this one connected, pressure tested, and start the vacuum. Then we'll work on this one because the vacuum's gonna be the most time-consuming thing. And we want this one to vacuum as soon as possible so that we can start vacuuming the next one. But you can see what the salt does to these coils. It's brutal. But they just replace them every so often, and it is what it is. Okay, so we got our 7/8, and I'm going to make my bend going up a little bit and in a tiny bit. Coupling in, nice and cleaned, and got flux in there using the Stay Bright 8 solder. folks. Okay, so I got my 3/8 in as well, and the filter dryer. I'm gonna neat it up a little bit after I do my pressure test. So I have the S-mans hooked up and the nitrogen. I'm gonna bring the regulator up to start at 200 PSI. Open it up. Go in our high side. Hear anything? Don't hear anything yet, so go in with more. Go to about 250-ish, 269, 258. We'll let it sit there. I'm gonna take my my suction temperature plant. It's gonna read the temperature of our line. And it takes the temperature into consideration when pressure changes, but I know this is a really long run, so I'm going to let this sit for a while before I hit the test tightness to let the pressure kind of balance out. And I am also going to flow some nitrogen through just to kind of get any oil out that might be there. So we seem to be actually staying pretty steady right here. So I'll hit enter to test the tightness, and the time will elapse and it'll tell us how much we leaked or didn't leak. Okay, so our pressure test was good. Now we're vacuuming down with the Field Piece 6 CFM vacuum pump, the True Blue hoses, and the Blue Vac Plus Pro micron gauge. It's been on for like 30 seconds now and we're dropping, so should be good with that. And we'll start hooking up this system while that vacuums down, because this is going to take quite a while. And I did purge a little nitrogen through to try to get any oil or moisture or anything out. Okay, so I did the same here. I didn't use my bender here because I kind of wanted to keep the same curve that the suction line had, but soldered it in there and there. It's under pressure. Filter dryer's in. And right now, I'm gonna check the vacuum, see how it's doing. As soon as I touch these, it's gonna go crazy, but it usually drops back down. And yeah, we're going back down, so I'm still gonna let it go for a little bit longer, because why not? But technically, we could do a decay test and leave it at that, but I'll let it keep vacuuming. And I'll connect up the electrical, and I'll secure these in place with some band iron just so they don't move from vibration or, I don't know, a hurricane or whatever. So we're on the water. Okay, so I'm wiring them in. I made sure to cut and strip back new wire because the other was all corroded. But I always cut this like at a short length, because one time when I put it in the contactor, the copper actually poked through too far and it blocked the contactor from closing. So I always make sure that I'm putting it so it's not too long where it's going to block the contactor, but it's also not too short that it's not holding onto it well. So I'll connect these, I'll use Wagos for my low voltage, and we'll be good to go on the electric. Still pulling down at 144 at the moment, 43. So we'll do a decay test on that soon. Okay, so just went down to the thermostat. Got our first unit, the 4-ton running, and now we're gonna charge it. And here we go. No subcooling, tons of superheat. Start with half a pound. We'll start with the full pound because I know it's going to need a lot. May even just let it go for more than a few pounds, but see what we get and I'll record our pressures. Okay, so we're starting to get some subcooling. It's supposed to be charged to 6, so I'll let it settle out and run for a while, and we should stay at around 6. Our total so far, we're at just below 6 pounds. So our subcooling is bouncing around. Looks like we're going to be good around there. Looks like we're starting to condense too. Okay, so that one is fully charged. We're going to insulate that line. And now we're on to charging this one. So here's our current pressures. And we pulled about 5 pounds out of this when we closed the king valve. So start with, I don't know, a couple pounds and see how we do. And our ambient temperature, we're hovering at around 90 degrees. So if we take a look in here, for 82, we want around 325. For 95, we want 390. If you split it, we're at like 360. So we're getting close to that now. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm at almost 3 pounds. The subcooling needs to be around 8, I believe. Yeah, 8 to 10. And our superheat needs to come down a good amount. We are starting to condense though. And this one's condensing like crazy. And we're at a little over 3 pounds now. Subcooling is hovering at around 8 to 9-ish. And our superheat is kind of staying around there. But we are condensing. We'll see what our temperatures are blowing inside and outside. With that 92 degree ambient, let's see what our discharge is. Around 99. So not too hot. A lot better than what it was doing before with the other units. I still might add a little bit more refrigerant. I'm going to see how these settle out. Okay, so we're finishing everything up. Just got the area cleaned out. Ran out of pipe doctor stickers, which was a bummer. But I did label both units. We have the gym on the second floor and the sunroom on the second floor. Our subcooling's good. Units are cooling. Nice and new. And that's it. So we'll finish cleaning up. I'll fill out the invoice, take down all the model and serial numbers, and let the building owner know that we're all done. And here are my readings for my supply and return. Both have 15 degree delta T's. And that's it. I just got to get the customer to fill out a capital improvement form. But this is what I filled out for everything. I'm not going to include pricing or anything, but this is how I filled out the invoice. Put down how much refrigerant that I added for each system. That way we know for the future. And that's it. Gotta love this traffic. close the lane, and there's always traffic on this road anyway, but barely moving. Heading back to the shop now to dump the condensers, if I can ever get to the shop. You can see just how disintegrated these coils are as I'm dropping it off the truck. I mean, they're just totally... So that is why we replaced these units. Same for this one. Into the scrap pile. Just look at how bad that coil is.
You brush your hand across the floor.
Yeah. So that is why these units weren't working. That's pretty crazy how much the salt destroys these. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching. We do a lot of work for this customer. They're like in charge of the building, and she also recommends us to anybody who needs like an AC person in the condo, the people that own the complexes. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Somebody commented that I should be looking at the camera when I'm talking, but I'm driving, so I can't do that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it, comment any advice or criticisms or feedback or questions or anything, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.